Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Today, we have got ourselves a Protoss versus Zerg. I've been trying to cast more and more of the different matches regularly on the channel. It seems though that the two main ones we do cast are ZVP and PvZ. Pardon me. But yeah, we're on the map Eternal Empire, and we've got two very good players. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, we've got Stats. Stats looking good lately. Just cast him against Bunny. And now we're going to be watching the Stats take on a Zerg. An underrated Zerg, in my opinion, known as Armani. Armani and Stats both on the Afrika TV Starcraft 2 team, which is exciting. Afrika sponsoring that team still. And then, yeah, so Armani is one of the players who tends to have really good results online. You'll say, wow, Armani beat this player. And then Stats is a player who has much better success in online or offline tournaments and online tournaments. But he's made his big name by winning the big offline tournaments. And so Armani, definitely not considered the favorite in this match. However, who knows, maybe he can take down Stats in with some unique play or something like that. I'm excited to watch Armani play, as I haven't seen him play StarCraft 2 for quite a while. I mean, I try and follow pretty much every pro player, tune into as many streams as I can. However, keeping up to StarCraft 2, I saw someone post on Twitter, is like a full-time job, essentially. Now, yeah, we take a look. Armani getting up that third base. Stats just going for the usual Protoss Gateway expand. The Zerg player mine and gas. Yeah, we'll see what build these players are going to bring out. I figure Armani might be the one to be a bit more aggressive, as Stats is a very defensive Protoss. However, I wouldn't put it past Stats to go for a timing attack, something like that. Or, yeah. So we'll see what his choice is going to be. Eternal Empire is a map that you can be pretty defensive on 3 bases, even taking more bases is quite doable defensively when it comes to taking fights. The concern does come from, though, the concern basically comes from bases, the distance between attacking on bases. Like, an army can get to the other side very quickly. So while it's a defensive map, it does have very big timing attack potential and things like that, as it doesn't take long for an army to get across the map. These players chatting up a storm, by the way. Leave a like for whatever Stats and Armani are saying. I totally can't read that. Embarrassingly, I can't read Korean. I wanted to take a Korean class, but none are available in my area. I know that's a lame excuse, but I was hoping to be able to take like a proper class on it. So we'll take a look. We see Stats and Armani just doing their usual stuff. Stats shading in with the Adept, bruising up some larva, and then everything seems to be normal. Stargate on finished for Stats, and Oracle on the way next. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, let's try and hit. We have got Armani and Stats. If we count all the characters in their names, we add that up, we divide it by the StarCraft 2 or we multiply it by the StarCraft 2 in their StarCraft 2, that gives us, let's go ahead and say 43 likes on this video. That's definitely not correct, by the way. I'd say it's actually more like 40 likes. I don't know. Hit that like button. But as we wait for things to really start heating up, we see Armani making some lings, Stats making his oracles. Stats is notably waiting for both his oracles to get out before doing anything with them. Armani doesn't actually know about this, so there's a chance he'll be a little bit blindsided. The Zerg player hasn't started Spore Crawlers yet. We see Stats is moving out on the map with his Adepts, doing a very good job of clearing any potential spotting lings. So there could very well be some good damage getting done by Stats. 2 oracles flying across the map. We see a Spore at the natural. There's going to be a Spore at the third, so that should be enough to cover Armani. The Spore is finishing right on time. That doesn't mean Stats will not be able to get some damage done. Armani is already running his drones from the main base, as he knows the oracles are flying there. He knows that he cut Spore Crawlers, so Armani losing a lot of mining time due to these oracles. The oracle's going to be able to zap a few drones. It's like they get quite a few drones, like 4 or so, and then a lot of denied mining time. So not bad at all for Stats getting that done. Looks like Stats has his Adepts back at home too. and is just going to be wanting to secure his third base. Going to have to be careful, though. Very nice surround on the units of Stats. Armani using his high link count to get some damage done. The sentries are dead. The adepts are now all going to die. Even the sentry that popped out later getting killed off. The Oracle's going to do what they can to try and save this base, but at the same time, Lings are going to be getting into Stats as natural as soon as the Stalker's dead. But oh no, the Stalker hasn't been killed. Now the Stalker's dead. Lings working away on the sentries next. Even a sentry that Stats warped in may die if Armani targets its down, and he does indeed target that down. So a very good trade, I'd say, for Armani. Loses like 30 Lings, gets 5 sentries. Sentries are very expensive. Stats doesn't want to have to be replacing those. He wanted to make 5 sentries, then not think about making any more till the game's over, essentially. And now Stats is going to have to invest in those expensive units once again if he wants them. Armani behind this is going to basically have a license to drone. Of course, going to have to still respect the oracles and things like that, but he can probably throw up a 4th base soon. And one thing that I do want to point out is Armani has been on 1 gas this entire game till now. Now he just saturated all of his gases, so he's going to be all of a sudden going from a very low gas income to a much, much higher one. There's indeed a Twilight Council on the way for Stats of Forge. However, his 3rd base was a little bit later than he'd have liked, I think, but now we'll see. Stats going to be moving out on the map with his army. This has got to be a fake out, though, just to force some units from Armani. I don't think Stats is planning a kill move at all. He doesn't have a prism with this. He's just got 1 immortal. Has a lot less sentries than he'd like with this attack. Will end up canceling the 4th base of Armani, though, so not bad at all. Getting the cancel on that. We see the Zerg player does have to make some roaches to cover himself. Stats is still just trying to be a bit of a jerk, potentially going to kill that drone that wanted to get that 4th going. So a very nice delay from Stats, I'll say. Taking down that 4th base, keeping it canceled for quite a while, so it's a 3 base versus a 3 base, which is generally considered quite good for the Protoss player. Stats behind this is also getting up charge, getting up +1. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Templar Archives start up soon for Stats, as he's going to probably want to make some Archons or something like that. He's getting up 6 gateways, though. He's walling off this location, which I really do enjoy. And then the Oracle's still just flying in, being as much of a pain as possible. Stats saying, okay, wow, that is your 4th base, just being quite delayed. There's the Templar Archives for Stats now. He's thrown up a lot of shield batteries at his 4th base. They are very clumped up when it does come to Corrosive Bile, so there's a chance that Armani will get some very good Corrosive Bile off on this, as he is looking to put the aggression onto his opponent. A lot of Ravagers moving across the map. Stats really just his Stalkers. He doesn't even have charge for his Zealots yet, so it's going to be a very basic defense for Stats. We'll see if he's going to have enough. This is a lot of Zerg coming forward. The Ravagers tossing down Corrosive Bile, hitting the force fields, taking those out, but there we go. Clumped up shield batteries getting killed by Corrosive Bile. The Zerg army seems to be very overwhelming right now. Pylon potentially going to be getting unpowered, knocking out gateways. That does indeed get Corrosive Bile down once more, so that's going to fall. The Oracles are coming in, going to do what they can. This is a very terrifying attack from Armani, though, tossing down Corrosive Biles all over the place. We'll see if he's going to get enough damage done. His army is moving forward. Most of the shield batteries are dead. So far, no real probe damage done, though. So Stats actually able to pull out a very good hold. His unit's staying alive a long time. He lost a lot of structures and things, but he didn't lose probes. He didn't really lose his army. A very successful defense, I'll say, from Stats. The concern now for Stats, though, is Armani's Spire has just finished up. He's going to be able to produce Mutalisks, and currently there is 5 Mutas on the way. 9 Mutas, 10 Mutas. That count probably just going to keep rising as the Zerg goes for this transition into potentially a very scary army of these Mutas that could really catch Stats off guard. I don't think he knows about the Spire. We'll take a look where that is. Stats does not know about the Spire. He's just so focused on rebuilding his ground army, establishing his 4th base, that he doesn't seem to be prepared for this. He's got 1 cannon in his main. He's building one at his natural, 1 in his main, but man, is this ever going to be a lot of Mutalisks coming out for Armani as he fires up another 5. The Oracles are going to be getting chased by the Mutas now, and Stats is going to have to react to this. His reaction is immediately throw up a Stargate, throw up a Fleet Beacon, throw up, or start building Phoenix. Armani, though, is going to be coming in with these Mutas, going to be able to pick off the Oracles, gets 1, doesn't quite get the 2nd, so that's nice for Stats. Over some damage probably will get done by these Mutas, as there's no blink yet for Stats to easily pounce on top of this army, so probes will die at a minimum. The mutas, though, do end up getting pushed away. Stats, very good at responding to things, even if he doesn't necessarily have the proper tools. In a minute, though, he is going to have the proper tools. We're going to see Stats. He's going to have his fleet beacon. He's going to have double Stargate, so he'll be able to get Phoenix with Anion Pulse Crystals, much higher range. He won't have a 4th base, though, as Armani brings in his Lings to help clean that out due to the Muta's zoning. Stats didn't want to commit his force out there. Now we take a look. There's the Baneling Nest on the way for Armani, getting up a Hydra Den, so he's already planning his transition. A lot of Banelings would be good for him, I think, against the High Templar. The Hydra is going to be coming out next. The Mutas come in towards the natural base. They're going to kill off a decent number of probes. Head on out. Armani, currently at 22 Mutas, is going to be getting out another 4, so going up to 26. A very, very high Muta count for the Zerg player. Going to be just trying to pick off whatever he can. Gets a couple of transferring workers. Armani is now going to start making up Hydras behind this, so the Zerg player seems to be in quite a commanding position. As the Protoss player is just trying to survive. Stats building up that Phoenix count. He's currently up to 7, which is no small amount. However, it will take him a while to cut into this many Mutas, as Armani keeps killing off probes, knocking Stats down to only 53 workers, which is not where Stats would like to be, and Stats has to keep investing in these Phoenix, while Armani is already planning his transition. He's got an infestation pit on the way, he's got Phoenix coming out. The question I'd say really is whether Stats is going to be able to build up to that army supply, which really makes Protoss a lot more comfortable. It's something that I've been noticing in a lot of ZVPs when you really boil down the matchup. It's that Protoss, for the most part, is struggling to survive between 130 to 150 supply-ish. However, once they manage to reach up to 170, their position improves exponentially, as they have a force that trades very efficiently against Zerg, and they have enough of it. Armani, though, has been maxed out for a while. He's going to be making a lot of Banelings. He's still got 17 Mutas alive. The Hydras, or the Phoenix of Stats, aren't going to be too useful for him, as he comes in, flies over his base, and sees the bajillion Spine Crawlers. Unfortunately, not enough Spore Crawlers for Armani to defend this base against the Phoenix, which may actually be able to get some good worker kills. As we do see, they're coming on in. The Mutas attacking on the other side of the map, though. The Phoenix obviously not there to help deal with them. But, oh, Armani, big control mistake. I guess he was just trying to focus down High Templar. Yeah, I think that was intentional, but it was not very successful. He focuses down, I think it was 2 of the High Templar, 3 of the High Templar, actually, so maybe that was all he needed. Removing the Psystorm from Stats' army, a very intentional choice by the Zerg player, who's now looking to set up a surround on his opponent. There's only going to be a few Psystorms. There's a good one to start off, though. Banelings rolling in. They're now coming in from multiple directions. Can Stats hold on? Banelings not quite getting the connections on the High Templar, on the Protoss army as planned, but there's a lot more Zerg coming in right now, and not a lot for Stats. We see the Masslings coming on in, getting what they can done. The Phoenix recall, but I don't know how helpful Phoenix are going to be here. Stats could be in a lot of trouble right now. Armani came in with a very strong, intentional attack, focusing down the High Templar with the Mutas, and then just rolling in with the Banelings. The Hydra's doing a really good job putting out so much damage against the Protoss force. Stats does seem to have held for now, though. Armani rolls some Banelings towards the Protoss location, but doesn't quite get the damage he wants. So Stats was in a very dire position. However, I'm still not completely happy for Stats. He lost a lot of supply. His economy hasn't been that great this game, struggling by at 59 workers. And Armani is pretty much already remaxed. 170 supply to 115. He'll be able to remax pretty soon, except instead of building more supply, he's actually just building more Banelings, and I think is going to be planning another big attack. Armani is one of these Zergs that will just pull the trigger. Attack, attack, attack. And now we see there's a lot more Banelings have been made. They're going to be looking to get real friendly with Stats. Stats has got 6 High Templar. I believe they're each going to have 1 Psystorm, so not a bad amount of Psystorm from Stats. We'll see, though, if there's simply too much Zerg to overcome this. Looking for a surround is Armani. Banelings rolling forward, hitting the Archons. The Overseer is actually getting targeted down by the Phoenix, so it looks like Stats takes a successful fight. The Mothership with its cloaking is actually incredibly valuable for the Zerg. The Zerg player needs like a lot more Overseers, like 3-4 Overseers. These Banelings are going to be slowly rolling towards the Protoss base, but I don't think they'll get that much done. Stats already pulled the probes away. Armani attacked in. Didn't get anything done. However, we take a look, both players traded out. The supply once again is 173 to about a 115 of stats, and that's pretty much where they were at exactly before the fight. So both players traded out. Armani is on an incredible economy. He's got a lot of spine crawlers to help defend his bases. I really, really enjoy this. I think spine crawlers are an invaluable defense because sometimes counterattacks can completely make you lose the game. Lurkers are on the way now for Armani. 8 of them in tow, so we're going to have that as the next step for the Zerg evolution. And Lurkers are quite good indeed. They're better against High Templar. They prevent the Protoss from just attacking on in. Once they have that upgrade, which makes them burrow and unburrow very quickly, they're just super lethal. We haven't seen that yet from Armani. He's actually just getting seismic spines now, and has yet to get that adaptive talons, which I believe is the one that makes them burrow and unburrow very quickly. I'd say Seismic Spines is indeed the upgrade that, yeah, I'd say Seismic Spines is the upgrade that Armani wants. As gives them more range, helps them zone out Templar, helps them zone out the whole Protoss army. However, you do basically want both the upgrades. Lurkers with adaptive talons can reposition so quickly, really get the jump on the Protoss. And speaking of getting the jump on the Protoss, this is really bad for stats. Armani caught a bunch of Archons. He's got his Lurkers on the ramp. Stats does use the Phoenix effectively to lift up a lot of them, though. Can he push up this ramp? I'm not sure what the losses are going to be looking like on both sides. I think overall, though, that was a pretty darn good fight for Stats. He gets all the Lurkers. Armani thought he had caught Stats out, but really it seems that Stats had caught Armani out. We saw a Zealot counterattack killed or canceled this base. They're going to have a tougher time hitting this location due to all the spine crawlers, though. So really do enjoy seeing that from Stats. Lots of Lings going to help clean up these Zealots. Spine crawlers as well, of course. But Stats, man, he's holding on. The defensive Protoss is doing pretty well. And I'm a bit concerned for the Zerg player, as we're just seeing more and more of the same. Stats, though, does actually run over some Lurkers, which I'd say is a bit of a mistake. The Lurkers killing off one High Templar. All the units staying under the mothership, huddling underneath it. Lings going in for a counterattack. Overseers are coming in. Hydras are actually going to grab some of the High Templar. Very nice for Armani, picking any of those off. The Lurkers undetected, and Stats where's his robo? Where's his observers is the real question I have. Now he's got an observer with this army. You can never have enough observers, I think, when fighting against a Protoss or when fighting against a Zerg with Lurkers. Armani is going to be getting up a hatchery in the top left-hand side of the map. He's just building up here. He's just remaxing once again, potentially looking for a big attack with Lurkers and Hydras. This seems to be his tech of choice. Whereas Stats, he's just relying on his mothership. Lots of Psystorm, making Immortals, Archons, all that good stuff. He's even got up a 5th base, so his economy is starting to improve. At 71 workers, things are really starting to look up for Stats. He's at 150 supply. Might be a bit early to push out into a Zerg that's this maxed out. So I think Stats is going to have to back up after this one. Armani, though, having a hard time killing this Protoss. Stats, he's hanging on. He will not die. There is now an Oracle on the way to get Revelations off for Stats. Armani, though, is going to be looking for another big fight. Hydra's on the ramp. Lurkers and Banelings coming in. Very clumped up, though, but the Lurkers don't care. They just siege right underneath the army, and this is enough to force Stats back. I think Stats may have lost his observer. Yes, he did. That is a big mistake from Stats. I'm not sure if Armani targeted it down or what. All of a sudden, though, these Lurkers are going to come on in. If the cannons get killed off, there'll be nothing to detect them. The pylon actually gets focused down, but a Revelation does get used by Stats. This is going to allow him to see the Lurkers. The mothership actually got killed off. However, I think this is a good fight for Stats. Armani trying to focus down the Immortal, gets the Oracle, gets a couple of the Protoss units over after this entire trade out. I'm not sure who came out ahead. Armani is actually just going to be rallying Lings, but knows there's Archons, so he can't take that fight. Both players essentially completely traded out their entire army. Massive losses on both sides. Usually a fight is more one-sided. However, Stats and Armani just keep trading out. Stats lost his mothership. He lost his High Templar. His supply was like 20 for a time. However, Stats has a much bigger mineral bank at the minute, so he can make a lot of Zealots. He can throw out more cannons for static defense. Even making some Stalkers now is an interesting choice. I guess just whatever to help get rid of these counterattacking Lings. Armani is still on a very strong economy, as he's really not been attacked this entire game. So he will be able to remax. He's even zoning stats away from his base using these banelings. Still, though, a very, I'd say, good fight for stats. I mean, if we take a look, it's taken Armani a long time to remax, so if the Protoss can keep making units, I think he'll be in a fine spot. As, look at the supply right now. I mean, it's 167 to 150. That's only a 20 difference as opposed to, like, the 50 difference that we saw before. Of course, Stats isn't out of the woods just yet. Armani has been relentless this game with his aggression. Of course, he's just going to make more Lurkers, more Lings, and more Hydras. He's not planning on teching up to Broodlords. He's not planning on getting out anything else. We do see Stats. He has rebuilt his mothership, too, which is exciting. I would like to see some Banelings for Armani in this situation, though, as there simply is a lot of Zealots for Stats, as he did get, or he did have a big mineral bank and has spent most of that on Zealots. But look at this, though. Stats is at 170 supply versus Armani's maxed out. But Stats has taken good fights when Armani was maxed out before and he had less of an army. So I think this does say that the Protoss is doing better now. In comes Armani. He's going to be looking for an attack. He's got to be wary of that Psystorm. Banelings are looking to come in from any direction. This army has to be so careful from the Psystorm, but the Lurkers getting set up is enough to zone back the Protoss, and Stats is going to have a tough time attacking into these Lurkers. Counterattack is going down, but great response from Armani, shutting it down. He's still on the offense as well. Hitting Stats is most critical. Mining base, the Lurker's eating a lot of Psystorms. The Baneling's going to start rolling in. They crash right into the Protoss army, getting massive damage done. That might actually have been enough for Armani to clean out Stats. Stats has got quite a bank, but he needs to turn it into units that will help him against these Lurkers. But Stats, look at this. He doesn't have an observer with his army once again. That really has been his Achilles heel, I think. Or at least it's just been something that's put him in a very, very rough spot. As Stats being forced off this last base, is most of his mining gone. His third's mined out, his fourth is almost mined out, and his fifth base is dead. Stats has been a fighter. He's been defending this entire game, but now we see he's fighting against Lurkers with gateway units, which doesn't ever really go well. He will clean up all the Lurkers, but I'm very concerned for Stats. His economy is really, really low now, whereas Armani has still got this massive economy, 80 drones, plenty of bases, even securing up the base on the right side, so Stats is going to try and shut that down. The Protoss player has got his mothership as really his last cause. He's warping in more Zealots, but we do see this is just too much Zerg. Armani, after attack after attack after attack, is able to actually take down Stats in an amazing, amazing ZVP, showing that relentless Zerg aggression. Stats just tried to hold on. I thought it was honestly going to go better for Stats, but I guess the quality of his army declined a little bit before the fights here. As, yeah, we see Stats had a much better supply, but it was a bit deceptive. There was a lot of Zealots. There was only 2 Archons and 3 Immortals. I think the Protoss force needs to be bigger for that. The Psystorms, of course, were there with the 8 High Templar, but without more Archons and Immortals, which Stats didn't have time to rebuild, I think it was just too much. Then, of course, these High Templar weren't here as well to help drop more Psystorm on this force, so Stats was able to, or wasn't able to defend. Armani finally got the fight that he wanted with his mass Lurker count. And so, ladies and gentlemen, after an awesome game, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and check out becoming a member. Those are all linked in the description, any of the social URLs and things like that. I'll see you next time. This has been LaughNgamez. Thanks for watching.